Okay, well, let's dive into it. Let's get a couple things spread out here so we can go over what we keep in our race bag, or in our hobby shop, if you will. But before we do that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel and check out all the latest content from the vlog. So let's dive into it. What's going on, guys? Walter with the RC Addiction Vlog. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the RC Vlog. Today we are going to do a video on what do I keep in my hobby shop, or my race bag as I call it. I call it my hobby shop for when I go racing. I had a subscriber that commented on one of our videos a while back that was just asking us to do a video on what do we carry in our bag? What kind of spare parts do we carry for our team associated cars, right? Everybody that runs any sort of 10 scale or 8 scale off-road racing knows that you got to have a bag full of parts. And that's not necessarily because the cars aren't durable. It's just we drive the heck out of them. And when it comes to parts, you're going to need them. And so it's just a matter of which ones. And which ones do you spend your hard-earned money on? And we're going to go through that right now. So first thing I would tell you when it comes to any of the versions of cars, it is always good to have a couple different versions of suspension arms. Now, when I say that, basically what I stock, or what I have in my bag, is a front and rear set of the Carbon Series arms for each one of my cars. So I race two two-wheel drive buggies, a stadium truck, and a short course. So for each one of those cars, I have a set of spare arms. Do I use them at all, like often? No. Not at all. But I do have them just in case, and the reason I have them is so that if the hobby shop is either sold out or doesn't have any or doesn't stock team associated parts, I've got them in my hobby shop. So I would say spare arms is a good one. Good place to start is a set of spare arms. The other thing I usually will keep with the arms, just because they kind of go hand in hand, is a fresh set of hinge pins for the suspension. And that's just typically because when you break an arm, there's a pretty good chance that the hinge pin is bent. Even if you can't see it with the naked eye, they typically are pretty bent. The other thing that I carry in my bag is a spare diff for my two-wheel drive buggies. I wouldn't say the diff is like a must-have by any means. The main reason that I carry it is so that I can speed up my process of putting a new diff in the car, instead of having to take it out, rebuild it, take it apart, and put new fluid in it while I'm at the track. I can take my old diff, pull it out of the car, throw the new diff in, and put the car back together and continue racing. I don't have to keep my fluids with me. Carrying fluids is a tough one, because most of the time they leak everywhere, and so carrying fluids with you can be a hard one. And so I try to do my best to prepare myself for that. And I wouldn't say I don't carry any fluids. I've come up with a couple ways with Ziploc bags and containers to keep them from contaminating my race bag if they do spill or leak. So make sure you guys do something like that. Put them in a Ziploc. I use Ziploc bags and Tupperware just to keep them sealed, so if they do leak, that it doesn't get all over in my bag. The other thing that I would talk about, or that I want to bring up, is spur gears, pinions, electronics. Some of that stuff I would say is needed. Some of it is not. What's funny is that I just actually lost my first race servo in a buggy a couple weeks ago at my first race at RC Plus for the winter series that they're running. I don't even normally carry a spare servo with me because I've never lost one. And I don't know, you can say that, by buying the better equipment, that's probably why I had never lost one up until now. But the servo I did lose was a ProTech 160 TBL, which I didn't think would happen. I didn't think that those were that susceptible to going out, because it was brand new. It was literally the first run that I had on it. So we're not quite sure why that one came apart compared to the rest of them that we run. Because the rest of the ProTech servos that we run, we've had in the cars and buggies for quite some time and never had an issue. So I wouldn't say the servo's necessary, but when it comes to motor gearing, I do definitely keep at least one 72 tooth spur gear in my bag at all times. I only run the 72. I know there's a couple different versions. I think 72, 80, or 72, 78, and 82, I think. Don't quote me on that. But depending on your gearing, I would definitely recommend that just because these are plastic. And I run the factory slipper. I don't run a slipper eliminator or anything. So these are pretty susceptible in our cars to going out if you don't have your gear mesh right. And so I definitely keep a spare one of those. Now, don't forget, a lot of guys, it dawned on me the other day that I needed to start checking this more. And when you're jumping these cars across these big triples and big, doubles and airing the cars out really well, when you have a gnarly crash, it is very, very easy for your gear mesh to tighten up, or for your motor screws to maybe loosen up and the motor to slide either back or forth. Which changes the gear mesh, which changes the durability of how long your spur gear and your pinion are going to last. And so I would tell you guys that off-road racing, it is very important to check your gear mesh throughout racing, even especially when you've had a tough race and you've had some big wrecks. It is important to inspect your car after that stuff, especially your gear mesh, because I would tell you that I kind of had it happen the first time the other day. I had a really, really bad wreck coming off the top upper deck at Rick's, and I could notice something was different, and come to find out, it looked like my motor had moved a little bit and tightened up the gear mesh. So the car was very twitchy. It felt like it was very torquey because the gear mesh was so tight. So something to think about there. The other thing I also do, and I keep this with my gear diff, is just a small Ziploc bag of a full set of pills for the C block and D block in the rear suspension. And the reason I do that is because if you break an arm, sometimes it'll take out the hinge pin, or it'll end up bending or tearing one of the plastic pills that are in the C and D block. And so what I don't ever want to do is be without my setup, which is having the correct pills to redo a setup if any of that breaks. And so I keep a full set of pills as well. I also keep a set of spring standoffs, if you will. I think that's what they're called. They're the little spring cups that go at the bottom of the shock. I also keep a full set of those because those are plastic as well, and I have had those break a couple times. I've been pretty fortunate, guys, with my Team Associated products. My B7, both my B7s I've had really good luck with. I know when the B7 came out, and still to this day with the original version of the B7, guys have had a lot of issues with the chassis, the bulkheads, stuff like that, the transmissions. I have not had those issues, and I would tell you that I feel like the reason I don't have those issues is because of the maintenance that I do to my cars and the attention to detail. I feel like that plays a big part in why I haven't lost idler gears, haven't lost chassis, haven't lost certain things in the car that are susceptible to breaking or that other people break more often. I feel like that's one of the reasons. Anyways, everybody's kind of got their different thoughts on the B7, and I personally would tell you that I've had great luck with it. I know that there's a lot of guys that moved to the X-Ray cars in 2025 and 26 and rant and rave about how much better those cars are. And I can't say one way or the other because I've never driven one. I've never drank the Kool-Aid and driven an X-Ray. I probably should, but that's for another day, another conversation. On to the next thing. The next thing I would talk about is tires and wheels. You guys know in the racing, like off-road racing stuff, you have to usually glue your own wheels and tires. I usually do keep a fresh set of front and rears for my buggies in stock in my hobby bag, just in case I need a fresh set for the mains to try and get that one up on the competition. And with tires and wheels comes the gluing part, which I absolutely hate gluing wheels and tires. So we use these really good RC Project tire bands, and you can see in there I've got the J Concepts tire glue tips. We also use Protect Glue. Protect Glue, probably one of my favorites. It's got a little thicker consistency. So like when it comes to gluing sidewalls on tires, because a lot of the truck stuff you glue the sidewall, the Protect Glue works pretty good for that. The other thing I keep is pre-cut wings or new rear wings for your buggies. This is kind of an important one, and I think this gets overlooked sometimes, how important a rear wing is, or how important it being in good shape is, because of how drastic It can change how your car jumps, goes down the straightaway, gets grip, rear grip, just based on how much downforce the wing is putting on the car. This can make a pretty big difference. So I carry these raw speed pre-cut wings in stock. That's kind of a game changer for me. I know I touched about the servo and the electronics thing. I don't usually carry a bunch of electronics either with me. I do have spare electronics, but it's tough. There's sometimes that I do and sometimes that I don't bring them. I would tell you that if you have spare electronics to bring with you, to do so. And not only do I say that for your own sake, but in my RC community that we have in Oregon, a lot of us are very, very helpful to each other. And we all know the most common error that can happen with RC electronics is plugging your ESC in backwards, right? Not something that we want to do. We all kind of dread the day that happens, and I have done it. And trust me, I have done it. I have smoked a brand new Hobbywing G3 ESC by plugging it in backwards. I know I dug my own grave on that one, and it should have never happened. But because it will happen, not if it happens, it will happen to you at some point. You want to make sure you're prepared for that. So that way, if it does happen to you at a race, or like I had a buddy of mine that did it, and he wanted to, buy my used ESC off me to get him through the rest of the day racing. And that can be another good reason for you to carry it with you, if you're there with your buddy or your, family and friends, that you can help another racer out and keep him going. And I would tell you that's the other, I wouldn't say another reason why I carry so many spare parts, but I would tell you that it can be helpful to your other club members and other racers that you travel with to carry spare parts, because we don't always know what the hobby shop's going to have in stock. Some racetracks don't even have a hobby shop. Some just carry very minimal parts to get them through race days, and that's it. Some hobby shops are stocked up more than others, and a lot of times we will take advantage of that and buy some goodies to add to the race bag when we're there, things that we see on the shelf that, some extra bling that we might be able to put on the car or stuff like that. It's one of those things that you always want to make sure you're prepared. I don't like going to a race without being prepared. And I know that's kind of contradictory, because a lot of times I'll show up to a race and my cars aren't prepared at all. Like I didn't prep the car at all. But when it comes to spare parts, I will try to do my best to be prepared in that aspect, just because I don't like not having it. And I don't like the insecurity of thinking that my racing could be over for the day if the hobby shop doesn't have that part. So yeah, I just wanted to do this quick video and show you guys what we have. But yeah, like I said, arms, some shock stuff. I carry a spare set of shock caps for the AE 13mm shocks that we run on the buggies, because those things strip and leak very easily. So if you guys run AE stuff, you probably know all about that. I do carry a spare set of rear hubs for the B7 as well. I've broken one since I've been running B7 cars, and I've only broken the one, so I don't really carry any more than just the standard pair for the car. I mean, I don't really feel like I needed much more than that. So, I mean, as far as hobby bag goes, I definitely have a lot more stuff than this in my hobby bag, but this is just a general breakdown of some of the spare parts that I carry. We always have our tools, our MIP tools, car stands, fluids, stuff like that. Like that's always a must to have in your hobby bag when you're going racing. But I just had a guy that asked me to do a video on what spare parts I keep in my bag, and so I figured I'd do a video on that. So we appreciate you guys watching and staying all the way to the end of this video. If you like this video, make sure you smash that like button down below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as always, and guys, we will see you next time.